Day two, let's take a look at shares of SpaceX, how they're trading after Friday's IPO, where the stock was up 19% at the end of the day. This morning, they are up another 4.25%.
Well, that was true when this went to air a matter of hours ago in pre-market trading on day two. But I have the luxury of recording this after the market has closed. Shall we take a peek? After hours as I record this, SpaceX stock currently give or take $215 per share, having hit a high of $230. I guess we got a bonus SpaceX launch today. A lot can happen in a few hours.
$167.81. Joining us right now to talk about SpaceX after its historic debut and about Elon Musk himself is Ron Barron. He is the founder, the CEO, and portfolio manager of Barron Capital. Ron, of course, is a longtime backer and believer in Elon Musk. He's a major SpaceX shareholder, and he's been there for many years. Ron, welcome. It's great to see you today.
It's great to be with you.
So SpaceX is your largest holding in all of the Barron funds. I think you started buying in 2017. As of Friday, you had how much in shares of SpaceX?
$24 billion.
That's across all the funds?
Across all the funds.
Across all the funds, and that was
I'm
as
not
of
sure
the
if that's
open
24
or the
or
close?
25 billion because we bought another billion on Friday.
Okay, so 25 billion, and that was as of Friday's close before this morning's gains?
Yeah.
So let's do some quick numbers. This will be fun. Owned, call it $25 billion of SpaceX stock as of Friday's closing price, which was $160.95. As I'm recording this, that same $25 billion stake would currently be sitting around $33 billion. Over the short term, anything could happen, but it just goes to show how tied the Barron Capital funds are to the performance of SpaceX. In the span of just a couple of days, as of the present moment, they've seen just one of their assets increase in value by about $8 billion.
I think we're going to make hundreds of billions of dollars, but hundreds. But before that, I was on Friday evening speaking to Elon and to Dan Dees, who is the person at Goldman Sachs who is husbanding this deal. And I was congratulating Dan on what an incredible job Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan have done with this underwriting. An incredible job. Figuring out the allocation of it, figuring out how to stabilize the market, doing pricing it appropriately. I mean, it's amazing.
What did Elon have to say?
So when I was talking to him, one of the things I kept thinking about is after what he's accomplished so far, which everyone thought was not only improbable but impossible, he's being congratulated on this. And I'm thinking about from his point of view, he said, this is just getting started. This is just where we're starting of what this business is going to become. And when I was looking this morning on the news, it said that he thought that we would do $1 trillion of revenues in 2030, trillion. And last year was 19 billion, so 50 times by 2030. And when I think about the opportunities this company has and how no one else, all you have to do is get the prospectus. It's 500 pages, so it's not that easy to go through. And it used to be they would give you red herrings, and there were little books, you could go through it and you can easily mark it up. But now, when I'm looking at these prospectuses, I have a prospectus like that, 500 pages. And you go through it, it's so hard to do it. But if you read that and you get probably 20, 30, 40 pages in, you realize what they've done isn't possible for anyone else to accomplish.
That's it. That's the quote right there. If it were possible to do what SpaceX has done, you can bet there'd be a handful of companies regularly launching reusable rockets, rapidly scaling their own global internet and telecommunications network, lining up massive AI compute deals with companies like Google and Anthropic, IPOing, raising about $85 billion, creating trillions of dollars of shareholder value. If it were possible to do the same things that SpaceX has done for another company to replicate their success, it would be extremely strange for them not to have done exactly that. The natural retort to the claims that it's impossible for other companies to do what SpaceX has done would be, well, don't you understand that eventually other companies could possibly replicate what SpaceX has done? True. That's actually true. But it's also a really fucking retarded point, because surely you don't believe that SpaceX is just going to be frozen in time, not continuing to pull further ahead. Well, this majestic, magical company starts catching up on one or many of the things SpaceX has already achieved, right? In other words, by the time this hypothetical company has actually managed potentially to catch up to where SpaceX is today. SpaceX has moved from where they are today to somewhere else. Bottom line is they still haven't caught up to SpaceX. It wasn't possible to catch up to SpaceX, and that's the point that Ron's making.
Not possible. And so he's at least 10 years ahead of everyone else as far as making satellites, as far as making rockets, as far as building networks. I mean, the opportunities that they have to change everyone's life, changing lives.
Do you think he felt a sense of satisfaction on Friday? Because obviously he's not driven by the same things as everybody else.
Well, if you're worth $1 trillion or $2 or $3 trillion or $5 trillion, what difference does it make? and that's not what he's interested in. He's trying to save humanity. And when I was listening to the interview that he did with Jamie Dimon on Friday night, I guess it was, or Thursday night, for the road show in the
Thursday.
JP Morgan headquarters. By the way, JP Morgan, that's the most incredible building I've ever been in my life. And so I was listening to the interview, and the last question was, so Elon, every time I talk with you, I learn something. Every time I talk with you, I learn something. And so what do you think about this? And he says, well, I'm hoping that some future AI will say, not a bad job for a human. So his goal is not the way other people's goals are outlined. And so when he's talking about what he's done so far, that's just the beginning. And so when I think about Starlink, and Starlink is, if you want to have some kind of broad distribution of wealth, if you want to have equal wealth, then people have to be smart. How do you get smart? You have to have the internet.
This is an enormously important point, underappreciated. The way people lift themselves out of poverty is with access to information, better information, tools, techniques, systems, technology. Let's head back to 2014 to the pre-announcement of Starlink before it even had a name. Elon Musk posting this. SpaceX is still in the early stages of developing advanced microsatellites operating in large formations. Announcement in 2 to 3 months. Well, what's this? Looks like some guy with 3 first names replied to this on the same day. This, if it leads directly or indirectly to internet access for all, will make a massively positive impact on 7 billion humans. It's a pretty good post, actually. I might like this. Wait a second. Developing advanced microsatellites operating in large formations. No mention of internet. Bro replies. Internet access for all. Hang on. Wait a fucking second. Huh? What the fuck? Who is this guy? Stephen Mark, obvious things are obvious. Oh, okay, that explains it.
How do you have the internet when you live in the jungle, or you live in the desert, or you're flying, or you're in the ocean? How do you do that? And so what he's...
Did Ron Barron just say jungle? I found that same guy who had a post just as Starlink was beginning to scale back in 2020, who wrote, Starlink will be transformative in areas with poor/no coverage globally. I backpacked through South America, spent time in mountain villages, deep in the jungle, etc. Much without Wi-Fi. Imagine access to information and education in remote regions. Game changer. I was about to like this post too, but I can't. You just can't touch that. I really do want to underscore the importance, the positive impact on humanity, the global, reliable access to internet, also known as information, education, communication, ideas, tools, technology. Starlink is already and will continue to have a truly profound impact around literally the world.
What he's done is what he's creating. This is the internet for the entire planet.
What is that? What excites you most about SpaceX? What is the aspect that gets you most fired up?
It's just everything. It's the Starlink is one. The compute AI is another. Making these chips less expensively than other people can make them and use them. The fact that you have this AI, with Anthropic, so his idea behind the AI, behind the large language models, behind Anthropic and ChatGPT, who, by the way, both of those people who found those companies, he hired them. He hired them and trained them. And then Google, Gemini. So when I think about those entities, and we have Grok inside. So what Elon said was, the problem that you're going to have here, LLMs, large language models, that's software. You can do that. Other people can do that. It's hard, but you can do it. But other people can't do the rockets and can't do the giant rockets. And so when I think about what is on his mind, he says, okay, other people can do that. What can't they do? And what they can't do is they can't make compute. He's got the biggest compute in the world, cohesive compute down in Memphis. And now what he does is he says, I'm going to spend my effort right now on getting compute, which is what the barrier to these growth of these AI, artificial intelligence, LLMs is. I'll build a compute, and that will put me ahead. That will make me win.
Well,
Once again, Ron Barrett, who clearly has a comprehensive understanding of SpaceX and their competitive advantages, has absolutely nailed it. I saw this very interesting post on X, funnily enough, from the exact same guy whose post we dug up from 2014, talking about internet access for all before Starlink even had a name or was described as internet. He wrote this today: if I were an AI company, I would be desperate to immediately secure 1, more terrestrial AI compute to rapidly improve models and capacity and therefore revenue. 2, immediately secure future terrestrial AI compute capacity access. And 3, immediately secure priority access to future orbital AI compute. And then for some weird and totally unrelated reason, he put a rocket emoji on the post. Anyway, enough of that seemingly completely unrelated post that appeared to suggest that every AI company on the planet is going to be throwing near infinite money in the direction of SpaceX AI for Earth-based and then orbital AI compute, doing whatever it takes to secure access. Back to Ron.
And it's almost a fight against the commoditization of any of these large language models down the road.
Yeah,
too.
so they're all going to get commoditized. Yes.
So it puts him in a different perspective, in a different place.
There is this giant market, though. It's trillions,
Everybody's
20 trillion, 25 trillion. Yeah, so, but what he's going to have is he's going to have this compute that other people need. So Anthropic, for example, has just gone from $9 billion of annualized revenues in December to $45 billion now for a 3 or 4 year old company, and they're going to go public for $800 or $900 billion.
Right, and they're paying, what is it, 1.25?
1.25 a month.
$1 billion a month.
$15 billion a year.
Right.
They're paying. So what they do
to
is
SpaceX
to
for
SpaceX,
use of the computing
right.
power.
So they go. He's a good guy. Good guy.
Dario Amodei. Yeah. He's under pressure from the U.S. government, the administration at this point.
I know. Well, the government has a right to be concerned when you develop something that can crack the code of everyone and find out where there's weaknesses and flaws. You got to make sure that this doesn't get into the wrong hands. But we're to go back to what we have with this compute. Mm-hmm. Then what happens is that he comes to Anthropic, comes to Elon. Says,
are you an investor in Anthropic now?
No.
No. Okay.
I wish I was.
Will you be when they go public?
I don't know. I haven't been to visit him yet. I've been trying to arrange it. One of the guys who works with me, one of his friends, best friends, went to go work for him, and we're supposed to go visit for maybe a month already. I haven't done it yet, but I will soon.
On Anthropic, who are, as we heard, currently paying SpaceX AI a mere $1.25 billion a month for access to AI compute, a deal that could go all the way out through mid-2029. Anthropic recently raised, as a private company, more than $60 billion. They're likely to IPO later this year, could be within a month or two. Already privately valued around $1 trillion. In the IPO, they'll obviously be raising some cash, billions of dollars. I'm just thinking out loud here, just trying to join the dots in my own head. So SpaceX just raised about $85 billion in their IPO. They have a customer currently paying them over $1 billion per month for access to a portion of their AI compute, who are going to IPO and raise a fuck ton of additional cash. I wonder what SpaceX might be spending this $85 billion on. And I wonder if this company soon to IPO that's just raised $60 billion and likely going to raise a comparable amount when they IPO, I wonder what they might do with some of this cash. Is there any possibility that Anthropic, flush with cash, may intend on using at least a portion of those billions to secure more AI compute from SpaceX AI? In fact, perhaps even in an attempt to secure priority access to orbital AI compute, or even to assist in the development of the data centers in space? Could this possibly happen? Just want to leave you guys with a final thought. If I were an AI company, such as Anthropic, the massive bottleneck to seeing a huge increase in revenue would be access to compute for training models to be better, and or having more capacity to offer to customers. If I were in this situation and I had just raised $65 billion and I was set to IPO soon and raise who knows more, tens of billions of dollars, and I was already in an agreement, an ongoing recurring agreement to pay SpaceX AI over $1 billion a month to access compute, and I also believe that my best bet for securing more compute in the future would be not just Earth-based, but also orbital AI compute. And I also realized the only game in town for orbital AI compute would be SpaceX. All this is totally hypothetical, of course. I might, hypothetically, approach SpaceX and say, hey, SpaceX, you know that orbital AI compute that you've told the world you're going to be doing? We want access. We want to be first in line. We want to have the best terms, the best deal. I know. What if we help pay for it? Of course, this is all just hypothetical, but let me be clear. If I were in the shoes of Anthropic, that's what I would be doing. The number one priority of any AI company on Earth today should be immediately securing as much AI compute access as possible. And I don't just mean what's currently available on planet Earth. I also mean what will be available on and off the planet. Whatever it takes. Thanks for watching. If you appreciate the content and want to support the channel, check out the links below where you can get early access to daily videos, unlock hundreds of exclusive pieces of content, and plenty more. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.